Welcome to the most professional podcast on earth.
Hi, welcome to Zero to Brilliance, the podcast where Matt, Richie, and Woz bring you inside the walls on the journey of a real startup with absolutely no podcast experience. We'll be super candid between the good, the bad, the ugly, and we won't sugarcoat things. We'll be saying it how it is, and we'll be swearing. So, as you probably found out from the last one, if you're a startup founder, investor, customer, or even a competitor, subscribe and be a fly on the wall. I thought we'd start off with some random insights. Is that all right?
Sounds good.
Yeah. Mate, look,
Yeah.
after the last one and how much you stitched me when I thought you were editing and you didn't, I don't know what I'm going to say. So, I'm just accepting the fact that I'm going to get stitched in this, and then I'm going to get some. You're going to upload it. Like I thought the first one was a mulligan. Like, I'll just try. We won't upload that. Boom, up it goes. So, mate, go nuts. Like I feel I've got such a low bar due to my performance in the last one. Like I can touch the bottom. So go nuts. Let's go.
Nice. And I'm not going to edit that out. That's staying in.
I wouldn't expect you to do me any favours, mate.
Random insights. Let's get back to that. Probably cut all that shit out.
If it makes you look bad, you're going to cut it out, aren't you?
So have you got the thing open? So I think I can share this screen for. How do I share? Just there. Share screen.
Tech startup.
So this one just here, the startup curve. I saw someone post this the other day, and I wanted to ask you guys about it because I had a bit of an opinion about it. I didn't really want to post it on LinkedIn. But the startup curve, and people were like, well, this is like the initial enthusiasm. It's like before a startup, you're like pretty neutral, I guess, like in happiness, because this is sadness and happiness. And then initial enthusiasm, you get really happy, and then reality sets in, you become really sad. And then experimenting while you're pivoting, and for some reason you're sad while that happens, then you start working on it, then you get product market fit. And then when you scale, you become happy. And I just thought this is fucking bullshit because I'm always happy. I really like business. And so what do you guys think?
I hope nobody watches this with poor eyesight because that was like the size of a postage stamp. But
oh, really?
No,
do you want me to do that again? I'll try that again then. I'll blow it up. So, yeah. So that's the startup curve. So before startup, initial enthusiasm, and this is like your happiness, sad, happy, and then obviously why reality sets in, and then you're like really unhappy while you're building it, and then when you scale it, you're happy. I don't know. So for me, I personally think that I'm always pretty happy because I'm an optimist. So, and I reckon like previously when I was working on like my startup, like I was doing 110 hours a week on a previous startup, and I was still happy. I loved every minute of it. Even if shit was going wrong, I still enjoyed it. So I don't think I was ever unhappy. But we've got in this startup, there's 3 different people. I've had lots of startup experience and a lot of business experience. And then Matt, you're sort of like, you've got, a fair bit of business experience. And Richie, you're a bit of a noob. So how do you guys think? What do you guys think?
Oh, Matt, you go first.
I think it's hard to do these kind of things and think that they apply to everybody, right? So I would argue that some people would be literally like this kind of like EKG thing. And, oh, we're dead. Oh, it's up and down. Oh, I'm dead. There's so many other things that affect, like external factors that affect the experience. And to your point, like you from what you just said, you sound like you enjoy the process. The activity is kind of, as long as it relates to this larger process of business and, solving problems, and you're happy, don't give, care. Like if people are like if you're an investor, I imagine your thing's a little bit different too. It's probably maybe that's what your investors like, or they go past sad into like, where's my money?
Yeah.
Look, I don't know. I think it depends on. I've no doubt that like an extended period with no wins wears anybody down. I don't care how. Like it doesn't matter the context of work or startup or whatever. So then you need to either get some wins, change your strategy, or change your perspective.
Do you think that it makes you unhappy when shit goes bad, or are you still happy that you just like...
Depends on what the shit is, mate. And how bad it goes, right? Like, you know what I mean? Like how far have you pushed the boat out from the shore, and like if you get hit by a storm, how hard is it to paddle back? So, look, I don't doubt that you have stolen probably, a lot of people's optimism, which is why you've got so much. So, you've got much higher than the above average amount. I think this is why people talk so much about in business and stuff like vision and the customer and these landmarks you can use. So when you do go into, again, to continue the weather analogy, a big storm, you get spun around, you don't know where you are. You can kind of reacclimate and go, okay, well, I just need to keep heading there. There's a great analogy I've heard before, like you're standing in a jungle, with a bunch of people, and you're like, I know there's a village on the other side of this jungle. I don't know how to get there. I don't know what's between us. I don't know what's in this jungle between where we're standing in that village, but I know it's there. So who's with like that kind of journey? And, when you get lost, you've got to kind of be able to reacclimate to those landmarks. So I think it just depends. Like you could be going on really well, and then a big client comes in, you're like, this is it, we're all good. They're going to buy us, they're going to invest, they're going to sign up 100 subscriptions, whatever the product you sell is, 10,000 units, and then on the death they go, you know what, nah, or they go belly up. So I think the bigger thing is not thinking that there is a prescribed path. I think the biggest thing is going that there are going to be the reality of ups and downs, and
it's kind of like that whole thing of whether you should be motivated or disciplined. And if you're disciplined, you don't really give a fuck about the motivation. You just get stuff done. It's kind of like enjoying the process.
Yeah. Okay.
And you don't really like, you go, oh, like, you should have like definitely like have a vision and all that sort of stuff. But being motivated to get up, and I feel like people who rely on motivation probably have more ups and downs than people who just go, oh, well, this is just the process and I just need to do it and I don't really give a shit if it's like I have bad days and good days. It's like it's just a process and an act that I have to do, a job that I've got to do, and I'm just like a bit agnostic about it, maybe.
Yeah, I can see. I think for me the biggest thing is momentum, like generating, maintaining, and increasing momentum. Like whatever you're doing, like that's a reason sometimes a lot of people do it, and I definitely do it. I'll write a list of 10 things, even though I've done 3 already, just to tick them off to get a dopamine hit to give me a go. People talk about eating the frog first, writing a list, picking the most painful, difficult task and doing that first. That's also a way. Like you're going to get knocked down and you're going to trip, you're going to walk into things, but it's that momentum. It's going, well, I've still done pretty well, but you've got to, I think true momentum comes from being able to see it. So visualizing that in some way, like Jerry Seinfeld does a great thing about, he gave advice to a young comic once where he was like, how do you become a comic? He's right. You write jokes 10 minutes every day. Get a calendar and sit down and write jokes for 10 minutes every day. And he says 99% of it are going to be shit. But you look at that calendar and you create chains and you create, I've done 4 days, I've done 7 days, I've done 12 days, I've done 18 days. Like that becomes to your point around discipline, or it becomes that momentum, right? Some days, I don't feel like, but you do it on those days, whether it's be discipline or whatever, because you've got that momentum. And when you're looking up, you're like, well, actually, I have tracked, I've done all right,
Yeah.
So I think there's definitely an element to discipline and motivation, but I think for me, it's always momentum. And when the quicker, because when you're coming down, that knocks you momentum, whether off you to get back up again. How do you generate momentum again? When you've got it, how do you increase it? But make it manageable. Like you think about a cart going down a hill, if the wheels are all wobbly, it's going to fall over, right? So high momentum is not always a great thing. It's about it being, controlled.
Sustainable.
And that's something that I've always, that I think is far more important. And the tools and strategies you use to get those is, I don't know, you pick one of a million that are out there.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Chi?
I was going to say, I think the general gist of it is pretty true. As in, you can be optimistic towards the end goal, as you can see with the scale graph going up. But initially, the process itself, I don't know if you can be optimistic about the process. There's going to be ups and downs, and that's just the reality of it. But like you said, with discipline, like you can have discipline and you can have consistency, but that doesn't always mean you're going to be on the happy side because of it. I feel like the discipline plays in with the ups and downs, but because you do it, the ups and downs eventually just go to an up. It's kind of the way I think about it. So like I'd be real with myself and I'd know at times I don't feel like doing stuff or I don't feel that good. But then like what Quilty mentioned, once you have that discipline and momentum, you then carry yourselves up. But then there might be external factors that knock you back down, like time, patience, money as well. And then you just got to keep picking yourself up. It's like a footy game. Momentum shifts both sides. And it's the winning side has the momentum towards the end of the game.
The one thing because I just went on holidays I went to a Club Med and I was thinking about this, and it's like the problem statement or the value proposition. And I was thinking about the problem statement because I was sitting there drinking like cocktail after cocktail, and I was like, what's the problem statement of a Club Med? So a Club Med is like an all-inclusive resort, right? Where you can do all the sports, you can do like all you can eat, all you can drink. You can basically just get absolutely shit-faced, and it's amazing. It's like free cocktails all day, every day. Wake up in the morning, have 3 tequila sunrises, and then go and have breakfast. It's like that sort of place. What's their problem? It's like I was thinking about it and there's probably lots of other businesses like this. There's some people go, oh, there's got to be a problem that you've got to solve. But then there's another one which is like, well, what's your value proposition? And is your value proposition just better? Do you know what I mean? Because I mean, the problem statement for like a Club Med is what, like, if people want to go on holidays and not have to pull their wallet out, and it's like it's a pretty weak problem statement, but their value proposition is like you can go on holidays and you can just really relax, and it's like everything's included, and it's just like an amazing experience. And so I was just thinking about it for our sort of business, and because with ours it's like, you know, there's a sort of a problem, but the value proposition is probably a lot stronger than the problem statement. So and like there's probably other businesses, like I was thinking like Airbnb probably have their problem statement of like everyone has a room, and so what their problem is they can't rent their room out to random people. Like it's not a problem that happened, it was a value proposition, and then their value proposition was really strong, so it like grew, if that makes sense. And it's like their problem statement was probably a lot weaker than their value proposition, which is really strong. What do you guys think?
I think too often people try and always follow that must be a problem, and then like I think there's problem and need like two equal. So when you say value proposition, to me that's a need. So the problem, using your Club Med example, people want to go on holiday, they want to relax, they want to have a good time. Okay, but there are one of 100 resorts, you know, probably in Bali or wherever that you can pick from, right? So then it comes down to what you would call value proposition or my needs. So for me, it's where do they have a baby prison where I can leave my children and I can get munted, right? Fundamentally.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like, you know, that's, I take the piss, but that's it. So if I've got no kids, then my need is different. So you could say in the product world, my problem is I want to go on, I'm overworked, I'm overstressed, whatever, right? I want to go and see another country for whatever reason. That you can write that as a problem statement, and you probably should if you're looking to solve it as a problem. But to me, it's more of a need. You know what I mean? And I think that is just as important. You can start there. I don't think you have to start with a problem statement. Like, so the need of people, like, I need to be able to go, or I want to be able to go on a holiday with my whole family. So the need is that having a resort that does that. So the problem I'm solving is I, you know, going on holidays, my whole family, whatever. They kind of one and the same, but I think the problem. So using the Airbnb example, I would say that their need was people for festivals or short-term, large-scale events wanted somewhere to stay that was cost-effective, and the hotels obviously went up. So we did a big event, concert in town. We made the trip unaffordable, and they had their problem or their need was I want to go and see this gig or this footy game, whatever it is, and I wanted somewhere to stay, but I don't want to pay hotel prices. The flip side is where's the supply that services that demand, right? And you can definitely write both of them in problem statements or in value proposition. I think it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen the other. And I'm sure somewhere, if anybody's listens to this, it's a problem startup guru is going to rip me, and I don't really care. Because
I've heard people say, oh, the iPod was like the best problem thing ever. It's just like, well, we already had the fucking problem solved. We could already listen to it, and then it's just like, but the need of it or like the value proposition was way better. It was like, well, let's just have a better solution. They're like, oh, okay, well, the problem it solves is like, yeah, well, we already sort of solved that.
And you're
problem.
right. Like back in
the value proposition is fucking way better.
The ability to listen to music on the move was a Walkman. You know, like that was solved. But to your point, it built on top of that. Like Yeti Eskies existed. Like cooler boxes, whatever they call them, they existed, but they were shit. Yeah. So they improved on that base. So, you know, I guess fundamentally, I just think you don't need to. I must start with a problem statement. Oh, you know, then I must add a value. No, you don't have to do that. Like, I think the reality is when you're looking for opportunity to find people to serve, which is fundamentally what any product or service must do, it must have people it serves.
Yeah.
Because those people are willing to exchange money for that product or service because of that it serves them. You don't have to start with a problem. Start with a need. I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Richie?
Yeah, I think you just need to satisfy the need. And I think it's just as simple as that. So the value of the business comes from satisfying the customer's needs.
Yeah.
And then the business grows in being able to do that to a bunch of different personas or demographics who have slightly different needs.
And
So
your
that's a good
iPod
business.
example, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say with your iPod example, right? So yeah, I could walk around and listen to music. But they went, well, what if you, instead of having cassettes or Discmans and CDs and a wad of them, you could have 1,000 songs in your pocket with nothing else. Well, I didn't even know as a customer who had a Discman that that's something I wanted until I saw it. So, but so there is that. There was no problem there. Certainly if you said, so I want to build a piece of hardware that means you don't have to carry around a CD wallet. People are like, what? What the hell are you going to do? What a waste of time.
Yeah.
But like to say, like, the real thing is like, do you wish you could listen to 1,000 songs instead of 50? Yeah. Like, so that's a need. That's not a problem statement. You could write it as one, and you should if you're going to look into it. But I think to Richie's point, like it's a need. Like, and some of the real ones are the undiscovered ones. Like,
and going through our business model, it's like, well, the problem is, well, it's basically already solved. You can already sell your house, and it's like you can sell it a couple of different ways. You know what I mean? But it's like the need of it. It's like, well, when people start understanding that, oh no, you can actually use AI to like sell your house completely, and you don't have to use traditional methods, and it's just like, oh wow, that's actually a need, and that's like way better. It's like the iPod. It's like, oh, this is fucking shitloads better. Why hasn't anyone done this in the past? So, yeah, that's why I sort of thought about it. I thought I'd mention one shit thing that happened this week is we got rejected from the StartMate Accelerator. So I just thought I'd like let you. Well, that was like last week because we haven't done one in a fortnight. So I applied for it because I was like, whatever. If we get it, we get it, and we didn't. So it's like whatever. Didn't really think that much, but I just thought that's not a great thing.
Did they give reasons as to why? Like any sort of like feedback response from them on the rejection?
Or the teeth are too white.
I didn't have white teeth then. Oh, my God!
His teeth aren't white enough. I can't measure how much more professional this one is compared to the first one. It's amazing, like, just like seamless.
They said they got like 588 high quality applications. I doubt they were high quality, but the short list of the 50 to 55, the top 9%. Applications for interviews, and we didn't make that cut. So we're not in the top 50 applications. And then it was just a generic email. We were going to chat about our plan to launch, but now we're running out of time. So, because the insights took a lot longer than I thought I was going to take. So, do we want to crack into that?
Yeah, we can have a quick one on it. Did you get a chance to talk to your mate about the prospect of?
Yeah, I called my mate who's selling his house now, and I said, "Oh, do you want to chuck it on our platform?" And he said, "Yeah, he's really keen to, but he wanted to talk to his agent first and make sure he wasn't doing anything illegal." So it's because I said, "Oh, did you sign a non-disclosure? Sorry, not non-disclosure, exclusivity thing?" And he was like, "I don't think he did." He said he didn't think he did, but he also didn't really want to stuff that over. So so I'll chat. So hopefully he'll call me back today. I'm sure he will. If not, I'll just call him and be like, "What the fuck's going on?" Let me know. But aside from that, what else do we chat about? It was like the action points.
But you're going to look at that API because we're talking about getting like listings on the site and the strategy of like launching and trying to get some, eyeballs, right? And we had a chat about like the initial, and I've only done I haven't finished the pivot tables because they melt my brain. Like it's like staring at the Matrix. So which is funny because someone's going to lose. This guy's an idiot. They're really easy. So cool.
Because obviously we were talking about this week about how do we launch because we were like initially going to try to get investment because we're like that pre-seed stage where we've already like built the platform. So like that risk is like, we're like developers. So like we can actually get that done. But then we built the platform. So we're like, then should we just wait to get investment before we launch? And then I'm just impatient. So I'm just like, fuck it, let's just launch anyway. And while we're still trying to get investment. And so, yeah, and that's where we're at. And so then we just need to, I don't know, just
would you consider a launch or more like let's validate a couple of users through platform?
Like can we? Because one thing we didn't do when we discussed the other day, to Richie's point, I think there is, when you say launch what do you mean? That's one question I don't think we asked the other day.
Well, I know that in the past, like, well, a lot of people think that like a launch is like you got to go big straight away, and it's just like getting it out there. Some people call it a soft launch or whatever. I don't know, whatever. It's just like in the end, we want to put it out there and validate, because when we launch it, you validate it straight away, because instead of doing like surveys or stuff like that, it's really you're just finding product market fit like straight away with your product. So that's what I mean by launch. It's like, well, let's launch it and validate it. And also make money. And so like, let's run of like, just like any business, it's like, let's make it work.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty confident that, like 100% confident it will work. So we just need to get out there and make it work. And then it might take us a week to make it work, or it might take us like 3 months to make it work. And either way, like it could take us 6 months to make it work. But either way, we're like going out there and we're like trying to make it work. Because there's a lot of iterations to actually getting proper product market fit kind of thing.
Yep. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I think we still need in our launch plan, like, although our platform will facilitate, making those like transactions or like sort of making the offers and accepting it, we still don't have the flow of the conveyancer coming in and kind of finalizing all the legal aspects of the transaction. So I know that will be manual at first, but I think we need to kind of document this in our game plan or guide playbook sort of thing, to figure out how we're going to initially do that for our first initial customers. Does that make sense? And that means
do you think we need to build in the feature in the app?
No, I don't think we need to build in the conveyancing part yet. Like that can be done manually. It's just like once the transaction's done, which we can do on the platform, and we have a record of everything, the amounts, the terms. It's just us manually drafting that sheet, and having a partner conveyancer or a conveyancer we know to like sort everything out. But we don't have that, or we haven't thought about how we're going to do that. So I'm saying we should plan that first before we do our soft release or launch to our first couple of users. That way, when the users come in, we're like, fuck, where do we take them? Like, we don't know. Like that way we know where to take them through. If they do happen to make an offer, or if one gets accepted.
Yeah.
So so you're saying we need to lock in some conveyancers who we can potentially can work with at this early stage.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah. So I think that's fine. The hard part is like, what state are the listings in? You know what I mean? Like, so I think I agree with you, but let's first, I think step one, like we spoke the other day, is getting some listings on the site.
Yeah.
Waz's mate, anyone we know who's selling. And then also, because really what we're saying is it's like, it could be as simple as a referral. Like early on now, like we have to do anything. Like, hey, we've got this person who's wants to buy this house or whatever, or, sell. Just John Smith conveyancing, just fed them there, right?
Yeah.
And once we've got a couple going in, then a different conversation can happen with those conveyancers. I don't think we need to write any code for anything yet. I think it's very much a manual step. I think the first thing we need is people, as we said, trying to use the platform to sell and see what their feedback is. And then I think once that's kind of going through, I do think we need to have a bit of a look at the investigator side of things as well. But like you said, we need to get that kind of plan done. So, even just the first cut, so the first one is cool. We need a plan to get people listing their properties. What does that look like?
Yeah.
Start there, right? So getting sellers on the site. And I think maybe that's how we group it. When we're doing our flows or whatever, it's like a seller. This is a seller flow. This is a buyer flow. Or this is a seller strategy. This is a buyer strategy. This is an investigator strategy. And we just kind of like, what do we do there? Because I think how we approach each of those 3 different user groups will be quite different. I think I said different too many times.
Yeah.
So do you want to do that? Have you guys got time on the weekend, like tomorrow or Sunday?
No chance. No, I've got babysitting. I think some people call it parenting.
Yeah.
So I'm babysitting my kids.
Like when your wife goes, "Oh, can you babysit the kids?" And you're like, "I'm their dad. I'm pretty sure I can look after my own children."
No, my wife will, like, if not that she watches this, but she would rage if she heard me saying babysit. I'm not gonna. If somebody who knows her will watch it now, oh, guess what Matt said? So I'll be in the shit. So whatever.
I'm not going to edit that out. I'm going to leave it in.
Fine.
I think before then, I'll hopefully Brian, my mate, gets back to me, and then he wants to list his house, because then he'll go through like all the onboarding flow, like legitimately. Although I feel like before he does it, we've really got to get all the sold properties, because you know how our valuation tool is taken from the sold property data from our database. So I need to get all the sold properties from the local area, and then the valuation tool should. Yeah. Sorry, yeah. Or he was in the
Do
same
that API gives you.
Yeah.
Does it give you sold properties, does it?
Yeah.
Don't know.
So if you want, I can hit the API. Just give me his region, like the suburb.
Not now. Later.
Yeah, not now. Like, yeah. But like, I need to know that, and then what's max sold age? What the fuck does that mean?
Do you want to call it there for this podcast? Yeah. I'll probably edit out the last fucking 5 minutes anyway, because it's just
that'd be good. I don't think I need to hear about us planning a meeting, so that part can probably go.
Thanks for listening, and remember, lions aren't caterpillars. They aren't scared of caterpillars.
You fucked it. Do it
again. Congratulations. Probably about 99% of people don't actually get it to hear, so because it's so shit. So if you're a startup founder, a investor, or a customer, or even a competitor of ours that want to stay up to date with our bullshit, hit subscribe and be a fly on the wall. We can say whatever we want here, because no one's actually going to get to this stage of the podcast.
No chance.
Like, this is fun. So that's it. So stay awesome and done. Right. Stop.